Have you ever noticed how some people stay calm in the face of anger, criticism, or chaos while others explode or react impulsively? Why is it that the strongest people don't lose their peace even when the world tests them, but don't lose their peace even when the world tests them? Today, we're going to explore the secret of rising above reactions and how mastering this skill can transform your life, relationships, and inner peace. Life constantly tests us with challenges, difficult people, and unexpected setbacks. In these moments, our reactions define our character more than the events themselves. Many people give away their peace by reacting impulsively, saying things they later regret, or letting emotions dictate decisions. But the strongest people, those who achieve true inner strength, have learned the art of rising above. They don't react of rising above. They don't react immediately. They observe, they reflect, and they respond with wisdom. In today's discussion, we'll uncover four key insights that explain why rising above is the hallmark of the strongest individuals and how you can cultivate this strength in your own life. The first principle of why the strongest people don't react is understanding that reactions are fleeting, but strength endures are fleeting. When faced with provocation, insult, or anger, the natural tendency for most people is to respond immediately, often impulsively. A harsh word, a sharp gesture, or an emotional outburst can provide instant relief, but it rarely solves the problem and often leaves regret in its wake. The strongest individuals understand that true power lies not in the intensity of the reaction, but in the ability to maintain composure and clarity in the face of difficulty. Reactions are rooted in and emotions are temporary. When we react without reflection, we allow the external environment to control our internal state. We selling balloons on the street. We surrender our peace. And in doing so, we lose a piece of ourselves to the situation. Strength, on the other hand, is cultivated when we recognize that our responses should be guided by wisdom, not by immediate emotional impulses. Consider the situation balloons on the street. Consider the situation where someone criticizes you unfairly. A reactive person may lash out, defend themselves aggressively, or retaliate in anger. In that moment, they may feel justified or powerful, but later they may feel shame, regret, or even damage a relationship. The strongest people see the same situation differently. They pause, take a deep breath, and ask themselves, will my response add value or worsen the situation? Will it reflect my character or my emotions? This pause, though small, is transformative. Strength comes from realizing that every reaction has a ripple effect. Words and actions, once expressed, cannot be taken back. The strongest people internalize this reality and choose restraint. They understand that controlling their reaction is not a sign of weakness, but a demonstration of self mastery. Over time, this consistent discipline becomes a habit that defines their presence, influence, and relationships. Another dimension of this principle is perspective. The strongest understand that life will continuously present provocations, people who anger us, circumstances beyond our control, and events that challenge our patience. If we react to each stimulus impulsively, we live in constant turmoil we live in constant turmoil. By rising above, we conserve our energy, maintain clarity, and build an unshakable foundation of strength that endures through trials. Moreover, this approach fosters respect. People notice calmness in the face of chaos. Those who can stay composed while others react of emotionally command silent authority. Their strength is recognized not through loud displays, but through the steady, unwavering presence they bring to every situation. This is the kind of power that builds trust, credibility, and influence in both personal and professional life. Finally, embracing the principle that reactions are temporary, but strength is lasting, allows you to reclaim your life. You stop giving away your emotional energy to situations and people who do not deserve it. You develop the discipline to act intentionally rather than react impulsively. And over time, this conscious choice becomes a defining trait, a quiet, resilient, and unshakable inner strength that allows you to rise above every challenge, no matter how intense or unexpected it may be. The second principle of why the strongest people don't react is that they observe before they act. And this habit builds immense emotional power. In life, every challenge, criticism, or confrontation carries two layers: the external event itself and your internal response to it. Most people get caught up in the first layer. They see the insult, the obstacle, or the provocation and react immediately without considering the second layer, their own emotional state, the consequences of their response, and the long term impact on themselves and others. The strongest people understand that true strength comes from mastering the second layer. Observation is more than just looking at what is happening, it is about seeing clearly without the distortion of anger, ego, or fear. It is about pausing long enough to assess the situation objectively, to understand the motives behind the words or actions directed at you, and to recognize the emotions bubbling within yourself. This pause creates a powerful buffer between stimulus and response. By observing first, you gain perspective. You realize that not every insult is personal, not every obstacle is insurmountable, and not every provocation requires an immediate reaction. This act of observation is the foundation of emotional intelligence. The strongest people cultivate the ability to notice their own emotional triggers, the patterns of those around them, and the ripple effects of their potential reactions. They ask themselves, will my response honor my values? Will it contribute to the solution or escalate the conflict? Will it protect my peace and integrity? By consistently asking these questions, they develop self mastery that cannot be shaken by external circumstances. Consider the moment of criticism at work or in your personal life. An impulsive reaction might be to argue, defend yourself, or lash out. But observation allows you to step back mentally, evaluate the situation, and choose a response that reflects your character, not your emotions. Sometimes the wisest choice is silence. Other times, it is a calm, measured response that resolves the situation without creating further tension. Observation gives you the clarity to make that choice. Observation also strengthens resilience. When you pause to understand the bigger picture, you are less likely to be manipulated, distracted, or controlled by others' actions. The strongest people know that not every battle is theirs to fight. By observing first, They conserve their energy for challenges that truly matter and avoid being consumed by trivial conflicts or unnecessary drama. This selective engagement is a hallmark of unshakable strength. Furthermore, of unshakable strength. Furthermore, observation teaches patience and humility. You begin to see that life's challenges are temporary and most provocations are temporary and most provocations are fleeting. By waiting and reflecting, you give yourself time to gain insight, see patterns, and understand the deeper lessons hidden in every situation. Over time, this patience becomes a natural part of your behavior. And others begin to notice the calm, measured energy you bring to every interaction. The strongest people also use observation to transform potential reactions into constructive actions. What could have been an impulsive outburst is instead an opportunity for learning, teaching, or growth. They convert emotional energy into deliberate effort, creating results that are meaningful and lasting rather than fleeting and regrettable. Finally, by observing before acting, you gain mastery over your own mind. You stop being a slave to your impulses, and instead, you become the author of your responses. And instead, you become the author of your responses. This power, the ability to choose how you react, when you react, and whether you react at all, is the essence of true emotional strength. It allows you to rise above chaos, conflict, and provocation, maintaining peace, dignity, and control in every situation. Observation balloons on the street. Observation before action is not a passive habit, it is an active practice of self discipline, insight, and presence. By cultivating this habit, you transform moments of potential conflict into opportunities for strength, clarity, and growth. You become someone who doesn't merely react to life, but who navigates it with intention, wisdom, and unwavering calm. The third principle of why the strongest people don't react is that inner peace is the true measure of strength. Strength is not demonstrated by loud words, forceful actions, or the ability to dominate others. It is revealed in the calm, composed presence of a person who has mastered their mind and emotions. When life presents challenges, the strongest in balloons on the strongest individuals remain grounded because their peace does not depend on external circumstances. It comes from within, and it is this inner tranquility that allows them to rise above provocation, chaos, and conflict. Many people confuse reaction with power. When someone reacts immediately, shouting, arguing, or retaliating, it may appear strong, but this is temporary, conditional, and often destructive. True strength, however, is quiet. It manifests as the ability to maintain composure when insulted, patience when tested, and clarity when surrounded by confusion. This composure is not innate. It is cultivated over time through self awareness, reflection, and disciplined practice. Inner peace gives clarity. When your mind is calm, you are able to assess situations objectively. You are not swayed by momentary emotions or external pressures. Instead, you see the reality of the situation, the motives of people, the consequences of actions, and the best path forward. This clarity allows you to respond wisely rather than react impulsively, protecting both your integrity and your relationships. Consider a situation where someone spreads false rumors or attacks your character. A reactor. We balloon on the street, we might explode in anger, defend itself aggressively, or even retaliate with similar tactics. In contrast, a mind grounded in inner peace can observe the situation, recognize the temporary nature of the provocation, and recognize the temporary nature of the provocation and respond, if necessary, in a calm, measured. By doing so, you retain your dignity and self respect, and you prevent unnecessary energy drain. Inner peace also serves as a shield against external chaos. Life is unpredictable, and people will often test your patience intentionally or unintentionally. The strongest people understand that they cannot control others, but they can control themselves. Their reactions are governed by principles, not impulses, not impulses. When you cultivate inner peace, the storms around you may rage, but your mind remains anchored, your decisions remain rational, and your presence becomes a source of stability for others. Another dimension of inner peace is emotional independence. Strong individuals do not seek validation from others, nor do they allow anger, jealousy, or criticism to disturb their equilibrium. They know that peace is not the absence of conflict, but the mastery of response. But the mastery of response. This independence empowers them to act with purpose, focus on what truly matters, and avoid being distracted by trivial provocations. Inner peace is also contagious. When you maintain composure in tense situations, you influence the people around you positively. They notice the calm, steady energy and often adjust their behavior accordingly. This quiet influence is more powerful than any loud argument or reactive confrontation. It demonstrates strength without aggression and authority without domination. Finally, cultivating inner peace requires deliberate practice. Daily habits such as reflection, meditation, mindful breathing, or even consciously pausing before responding help train the mind to remain calm under pressure. Over time, this practice transforms your default reaction from impulsive to measured. You learn to navigate life with the wisdom that true strength is not about reacting to the world, but rising above it. When inner peace becomes your foundation, you no longer need external approval, reactive validation, or emotional outbursts to feel powerful. Your strength becomes unshakable, grounded in the certainty that your composure and clarity define your character more than any external circumstance ever could. This is the hallmark of the strongest people, the ability to remain unshaken, to rise above, and to transform every challenge into an opportunity for grace and growth. The fourth principle of why the strongest people don't react is that responding rather than reacting elevates your life. Reacting is impulsive, it is dictated by emotion, circumstance, and often ego. Responding, on the other hand, is intentional. It requires reflection, awareness, and a deep understanding of both the situation and yourself. The strongest people understand that their actions should always reflect their values and purpose, not just their feelings in the moment. By mastering this distinction, they transform every challenge into an opportunity for growth, learning, and influence. Responding is a skill that creates freedom. When you react, you give control of your life to external events. Someone insults you and you lash out. Someone criticizes you and you defend aggressively. Each reaction is a surrender. It is letting someone else dictate your emotional state and your behavior. When you respond, however, you reclaim that control. You pause, assess, and choose the course of action that best serves your goals, your peace, and your integrity. This conscious choice elevates your life because it aligns your behavior with who you truly want to be. The strongest people also recognize that responding B builds trust and respect in relationships. Reactivity often escalates conflict and damages connections. Responding, in contrast, demonstrates composure, empathy, and wisdom. People notice the difference, the calmness, the thoughtfulness, and the ability to handle tension gracefully. Responding transforms potentially negative interactions into opportunities for dialogue, understanding, and influence. It positions you as a person others can rely on, not a person whose emotions are unpredictable. Another important aspect of responding is the long term perspective it provides. Reacting is immediate and short sighted. It seeks instant relief or satisfaction, but rarely considers the future consequences. Responding takes into account the bigger picture, your long term goals, your values, and the ripple effect of your actions. When faced with challenges, the strongest people ask themselves, what outcome do I want in the long run? How can I act in a way that aligns with my principles and preserves my peace? This foresight ensures that their actions are measured, strategic, and impactful. Responding also strengthens resilience. Life is filled with uncertainty, disappointment, and conflict. By training yourself to respond rather than react, you build a buffer between stimulus and action. You develop patience, mental clarity, and emotional endurance. Each time you choose a thoughtful response over an impulsive reaction, you reinforce a habit that makes future challenges easier to navigate, that makes future challenges easier to navigate. Over time, this consistent practice shapes a personality that is unshakable, confident, and respected by others. Moreover, responding and respected by others. Moreover, responding elevates your personal growth. It creates space for reflection, learning, and self awareness. Each moment of tension becomes an opportunity to observe yourself, understand your triggers, and improve your emotional intelligence. The strongest people do not see challenges as threats. They see them as mirrors that reveal their strengths, weaknesses, and areas for growth. Responding rather than reacting allows them to learn continuously from life's tests, becoming wiser and stronger with each experience. Finally, responding transforms your entire life perspective. It cultivates peace, intentionality, and freedom. It empowers you to live in alignment with your highest self rather than being a prisoner of circumstance. The strongest people rise above petty conflicts, provocations, and drama because they have mastered this principle. They don't react because their inner life is anchored in values, clarity, and purpose. They respond because they understand that how they act determines the quality of their life, the depth of their relationships, and the legacy they leave behind. Responding, not reacting, is a daily choice, a practice of mindfulness, and a daily choice, a practice of mindfulness, and a demonstration of true strength. It elevates every decision, every relationship, and every moment of your life, Al, allowing you to rise above challenges with dignity, wisdom, and unwavering calm. Always remember, true strength is quiet, intentional, and rooted in inner peace. The strongest people don't react impulsively to criticism, anger, or chaos. They pause, observe, and respond with wisdom. They understand that Reactions are temporary, but composure, clarity, and dignity last a lifetime. By rising above, you protect your peace, maintain self respect, and gain the power to navigate life with intention. Every challenge becomes an opportunity to strengthen your character, to grow emotionally, and to influence others positively. When you focus on responding rather than reacting, you reclaim control over your life, build trust in relationships, and create a foundation of unshakable inner strength. So step back, breathe, and choose the higher path. Let your calmness speak louder than the chaos around you. When you rise above, you don't just survive life's storms, you transform them into lessons, opportunities, and proof of the strength you carry within.